next up, I'm going to be talking with J.P. Rankin, and he's part of the Progressive Army. He's from Flint, Michigan. President Obama has declared a state of emergency, but there's some interesting nuances going on in Flint, Michigan. One, they were not granted all of the federal relief that they could get because it was not a natural disaster. However, they did get access to some relief because it is a state of emergency. President Obama, he is sending resources there to aid them. Rick Snyder has conceded that he has failed the people of Flint, Michigan, but it is not enough for him to step down. And joining me to discuss the updates regarding Rick Snyder is J.P. Rankin. He helps me out here with the Progressive Army. He is very active in the city of Flint, Michigan, and knows exactly what's going on. J.P., how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Ben? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. Tell us about some of the update us on Flint, Michigan, and the water crisis and President Obama's relief.
Okay, just a couple things. One, yes, there is still lead in the water. So let's not lose sight of that. Number two, our mayor took it upon her own as she was visiting the conference of mayors from across the country to go and knock on the White House door, and was able to have a conversation with President Obama in the Oval Office about not only what our situation is right now, but the things that precipitated it. Right. Very similar to what I gave you the rundown when we did the Progressive Army takeover a few days ago. So she had a chance to chat with him. However, he would not bump the declaration up to the highest level, which was a little disheartening. But after thinking about why he didn't do it, he didn't want the state to not have their vested interest in this disaster as well. So I believe that there was some holdback to see if the state is going to follow through on what they need to do. Yesterday, our governor had his state of the state, and with the state of the state, he ended up pledging $28 million to the city of Flint for a variety of measures, but none of it having to do with infrastructure. So the infrastructure is still the same. We're running water through bad pipes, and we're trying to filter the water out. President Obama, while he is in Detroit tonight at the auto show, did take a moment to bring about this idea. And he said something that it resonated with me as a father. And he said, as a parent, I would be highly PO'd if I had a child who through my thinking that everything was okay, now I've actually hurt them for life. Right. So that's where we are right now. The National Guard was dispatched. I don't know if any of you had a chance to see Michael Moore on Racial Matter either yesterday or the day before, but he had me laughing because he simply said the governor dispatched the National Guard, and he sent of all of 7 National Guardsmen out to pass out water.
Wow. So his dispatch of the National Guard, what he considered a dispatch, was 7 people for the entire city of Flint, Michigan.
Yes, there are some state troopers that have been out as well, and some other folks. But the idea is that Governor Snyder, for some reason, is not making this a full court press. He's almost, I'm not going to say he's stumbling as he's going. I believe he's trying to put the least amount of effort forth that he potentially can.
Why at this point, why, when that's going to make the situation worse? That's what I don't understand. Why is he not going all in to show that, one, we made a mistake. Okay, we didn't catch it soon enough, but damn it, we're going to fix it now. Why is he not bringing that attitude to the fight?
You know, that's a great question. I've learned something about people who have been able to amass wealth. So our governor is rather wealthy, and they didn't get wealthy giving money away. They got wealthy keeping money. At the end of the day, it seems as if he's just pushing a little money forward. That's it.
the price, the cost, and ultimately how much would it have cost? I saw somewhere it was a minuscule amount of money that it would have cost to avoid this entire crisis.
Yes. They said it was $100 a day. $100 a day in the water would have taken care of the issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That's heartbreaking. And now you have kids who are suffering from not only kids, but elderly people, and then potentially some regular, all ages, brain damage, bone damage, just full-fledged lead poisoning. Their lives are changed permanently because they couldn't spend $100 a day.
Permanently. And again, that's why when you really go back and look at this issue was a monetary issue. This was done because Flint is under emergency managership, and it was an emergency financial managership. So the good of the community and the good of the people are never the end goal. Right. It is balancing the book. And so this is why you have the same problem with our school district. Our school district has been running a deficit for years.
Right.
The governor passed a law that said all school districts had to balance their budget. So sure, you can balance the budget, but at what cost? Mm-hmm. At the cost of educating the kids, getting the kids the things they need. This is the situation that you have in Detroit. Why you have all the teachers who are not showing up for work, simply because of the fact that they don't have what they need. They're operating in substandard conditions. And at the end of the day, who suffers the most?
The kids.
And you want to know why there's a disparity between, people who go to good school districts per se, and people who go, it's not good school districts and bad school districts. It is school districts that are funded and school districts that are not funded.
Wow.
So that's what we have going on here. So again, he says that he's given a lot of good rhetoric. He almost broke down and cried during the State of the State, and I never try to mess with people if they're being genuine or not.
Okay.
The issue with me is that there is still seems to be a slow rollout. There is not a all out. Look, my mother lived here, so I'm gonna do everything possible to make things right.
Right. Absolutely. JP Rankin, thanks so much for joining me, man. And with that update from Flint, Michigan, you guys are in our thoughts and our prayers over there. Hope you guys can get this thing squared away. The president is chiming in, and we're hoping this can get resolved. And most importantly, man, I just hope that there are things in place for all of those elderly people, and particularly the young people who now have an entire life ahead of them, suffering from the effects of lead poisoning. So thanks so much for joining me, man.
Well, hey, not a problem. And it's called, what do they call those? Class action lawsuits. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that seems to be the recourse. JP Rankin,
absolutely.
Progressive Army. Thanks so much for joining me, man.
Anytime, Ben. Have a good one, man.
You too. All right, folks, the phone lines are open.